It's official. Joey Votto has called it a career. He has retired from Major League Baseball after an illustrious 17-year big league career. And one of the legends of the game, one of the greatest Canadian baseball players of all time. So we'll break down his wonderful career and the fascinating character that he was on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. What's up, everybody? Welcome into 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and today we're going to be discussing one of the legends of the modern game, and that is Joey Votto, who tried to make a comeback with the Toronto Blue Jays this year, got hurt early in spring training after just one plate appearance, and was never really able to fully recover after that. We won't waste time. We'll get into the video, but make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. It means a lot to me, and give me your thoughts on the person and the player that you think Joey Votto was throughout his entire career. But let's take a look here. So this was his message that he pinned on Instagram to all the fans, just thanking them basically, and I'll read it out. Toronto and Canada, I wanted to play in front of you. Sigh, I tried with all my heart to play for my people. I'm just not good anymore. Thank you for all the support during my attempt. And then the second part of his message was, Cincinnati, I've only played for you. I love you. And this was fitting because the Blue Jays were taking on the Cincinnati Reds in Toronto. It could have been a good PR opportunity to bring him up and let him ride off into the sunset, but Joey Votto himself said he didn't want to play unless he was 100%, unless he could give all that he had left to give to the game of baseball. So he called it quits. He called it quits on his way to Buffalo to play with the Bisons. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. And it's unfortunate because I wanted to see him play in a Blue Jay uniform. Being a Canadian, being a Blue Jay fan myself, it would have been definitely a dream to see Joey Votto go at it. But let's take a look here. So he was the 2010 NL MVP. 2011 Gold Glove, 356 career home runs, a .409 career on-base percentage, over 2,000 hits, an OPS over 920, six-time All-Star, and he accumulated over 64 wins above replacement in his career. And after 17 seasons, 6 All-Star selections, a Gold Glove, and 2010 NL MVP honors, Joey Votto has announced his retirement. And it's this was the one that really got me here, because Votto always makes the best and the funny something funny out of a situation that, you know, some people may not be laughing at. Driving to the stadium right now, my Uber driver asked me, "Are you a player?" I said no. That's the most Joey Votto thing ever. And of course he takes to Twitter to voice that. And that's just the kind of character he was. Just a fun-loving guy who definitely had a dry sense of humor. There's no doubt that Joey Votto had a dry sense of humor, but it was the way that he went about it. He didn't shy away from trash talking with the fans. He didn't shy away from just being who he was. And part of his retirement message was that he was grateful to baseball for not changing who he was as a person. He was able to be the same Joey Votto from start to finish of his career, and he had baseball to thank for that. They didn't try to silence him. They didn't try to stop him from being the Joey Votto that we all know and love. And that Joey Votto consisted of a guy who was very funny, would not shy away from crapping on reporters when the time came, and he was also a great guy off the field. So even though he's said some questionable things in his career, and most notably for me as a Canadian, said, I don't give a damn about Canadian baseball or something like that. That's the gist of what he said, even though he had represented Canada before that. So he has said some things that I'm sure he wishes he could take back, but he's always been the type to try to make amends and to try to come back despite having made some mistakes. And this story right here is evident of that. Quick story about Joey Votto. About a month after this, that little boy passed away after a fight with cancer. Joey went to his visitation. The family offered to let him skip the line, but he declined. He didn't want to detract from people paying their respects to that boy. And this was speaking on a video that showed Joey Votto handing a bat and fist bumping a little boy who had cancer in the first row behind the plate of a Cincinnati Reds game a few years ago. And he just wanted the best for baseball fans, and he did everything in his power to be entertaining every single night. He gave it his all on the field, and I think that's what he wants to be remembered for, as well as, you know, some of the lighthearted gestures that he's had over the course of his career, and this being one of them. You know, he didn't have to take his time out of his day to go and do that, but he did, and he delivered on multiple promises. I'm sure he would have loved to have won a World Series with the Cincinnati Reds, and that'll be maybe one of the bigger regrets of his career, because he spent his entire 17-year career over there, and he just wasn't able to deliver playoff success, but they never had the team around him to go ahead and do that. So Joey Votto stayed loyal all those years, and I know you guys are going to say, oh, it's easy to stay loyal when they offer you $200+ million, but the Reds were a small market, and Joey Votto was one of the best players in baseball. He could have gotten that contract from any team around the MLB, and he decided to stay in Cincinnati, and that was evident with his message here: Cincinnati, I've only played for you, I love you. And that's pretty much as heartfelt as you're going to get from Joey Votto. And then the other side of him, which I showed you guys before, was this. Driving to the stadium right now, my Uber driver asked me, are you a player? I said no. I just find that so funny. It's such a Joey Votto thing to do, and one of the more unique characters that the modern game has ever seen. And I'm sure with social media that helps kind of get his name out there, but everyone knows Joey Votto. Even if he did play on a small market team, every baseball fan knew who Joey Votto was and the contributions that he made to the game. Is he the greatest Canadian baseball player of all time? It's definitely up for debate. I would personally say no. I think Larry Walker and Fergie Jenkins have to be ahead of him on that list just because they're already in the Hall of Fame, but I'm sure the next stop for Joey Votto in his baseball career is going to be Cooperstown when he's eligible 5 years from now. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he gets in on the first ballot. I would probably say yes, with 99% certainty that he would get in on the first ballot. I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame has been letting in some more than questionable players over the past few years here, and none are more deserving right now than Joey Votto is. So it's going to be great to see him get into Cooperstown and be immortalized forever, because the truth is, once you're in Cooperstown, you are a legend of the game forever. Way after you're gone, and way after the next generations are gone as well. So Joey Votto, he's a legend. He's going to be in Cooperstown. One of my favorite players ever, and one of the more interesting characters that Major League Baseball has ever seen. But that'll wrap it up for this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Thank you guys for making it this far. And shout out to Joey Votto for a wonderful career with the Cincinnati Reds. It's too bad he couldn't make it work with the Blue Jays, but I think it's only fitting that he only played for the Reds, because he was synonymous with the city of Cincinnati. But thank you guys again for making it this far. Really appreciate it. And thank you to Baseball Town as well for being a huge supporter of the channel. Check them out. They're in the pinned description down below. So check them out. Your one-stop shop for everything baseball or softball related. Won't see you guys tomorrow. I'm going out of town this weekend. We'll be watching the Blue Jays against the Los Angeles Angels. But I will be back on Monday with another episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. And until then, enjoy the baseball.